You are now live streaming to YouTube Live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another strange and unexpected live stream. Today I'm joined by the fantastic Reality Weasel, who has far too little subscribers. I haven't put a link in the description yet, but all you need to do is put in Reality Weasel into YouTube and you can find his content there. Today we are going to be talking...
far too little content.
Yeah, no, that's fine. We've got plenty more coming up, haven't we? Is that right?
That's right.
Yeah. Oh, well, anyway, today we're going to be talking about Dear White People, and this is something that we have a shared interest in. I mean, the whole social justice phenomena going on at the moment in universities is of particular interest to both of us, and this show is something that almost on the surface seems to be screaming that kind of horrible collective mentality that's going on at the moment. However, I did not want to talk about the trailer because I hate trailers and they don't represent what the actual episode is, as we will discuss. So take it away, Weasel. I'll let you sell yourself for a little bit now.
Sure thing. So what I do is I pick apart the social justice movement at its core. That's kind of what my channel is all about. I try to approach it from an angle that a lot of people haven't done. So I approach it from angles of history and biology, and I'm going to be doing philosophy and political theory and anthropology and a bunch of other esoteric fields, as it were, in my upcoming round of content. So new subscribers can look forward to that.
Oh, cool. All right. Well, yeah. I was gonna say I'm really looking forward to it, man. I can't wait to see your new content, and I was just checking on the page at the moment. I am gonna put your YouTube channel in the description so people can go and check that out, and then we'll start talking about it. So what were your first impressions of it when you first knew that this was going to be a thing? Did you know about the film that was made before it, or?
Yeah, I did. I watched the film, actually, and the film, I have mixed feelings about the film because I think that it made an effort to be a little even-handed and a little tongue-in-cheek at times. Mm-hmm. But I thought that at the end it was just kind of propaganda masquerading as entertainment.
Okay. I was going to say, I think it was just on a simple Google search. I was thinking, can I learn a bit more about this whole thing that's now it's a whole season's worth on Netflix now, and I thought to myself, this surely is not new. There must be something that's kind of brought this about. I didn't know that there was a film about it. Well, first of all, I'm quite interested to know, is there much difference between this first episode that we've both watched and the film, or does it seem to be kind of straying along the same sort of lines?
Well, it's a continuation of the story. It actually picks up right where the movie left off. It's funny because remember they were talking about the blackface party at the beginning of the episode? Yeah, that was like the climax of the Dear White People movie.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just picking up. It's the same characters from the movie and it's the same location.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's interesting. So I'm also aware that the main, how much of the cast was changed? Because I think I think all of it. Okay, I think the main girl, Sam was.
Sam is.
The actress was she changed for that?
Yeah, she was. I think everybody was recast.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think Tyler James Williams is playing the gay black kid anymore.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. Okay, well, so with have you got any kind of notes on when you watched this, or if you just kind of watched it and are ready to just verbal diarrhea out to the masses?
I mean, I tried not to verbal diarrhea to the masses because I mean I have a bunch of little kind of nitpicky things that I feel like we shouldn't address just yet because we might lose sight of the forest from the trees, and it would just be kind of like, oh yeah, that happened, and we don't like that. And overall thoughts, it was really not what I was expecting it to be.
Yeah, I would say the same. But yeah, go on, develop that.
So I mean, it was you know, at the end, there's, you know, you have all your preachy, moralizing social justice nonsense about, you know, we are black people and we are collectively an oppressed class, and you know, I knew that was coming, but I thought that there was a good effort to make it even-handed, especially with the white guy that Sam is having relations with.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I think
Because
it would have. Oh, go on.
no, you go.
All right, I was just gonna say it was interesting that he had as much to do in it as he did. I thought that they were, if they were going to put at least any white character in there, that he would be, you know, this huge raving racist or
Yeah.
something. But it was just weird how in the opening kind of montage, if you'd like, the party that they kind of were putting forward is something that I'm not too familiar with. Now, I know that in theatre, in the earlier context of the 20th century, this blackface thing was very appealing, and obviously it's, you know, almost forbidden everywhere now, and
Yes.
you know, almost for good reason, really.
For good, well, absolutely for good reason.
Yeah, it's just hilarious that now I'm not an American though, so I'm not sure if this kind of thing does actually happen in American campuses. So do you have any experience of or knowledge of this?
This is the thing. So I have never heard of this outside of the Dear White People universe. But at the end of the movie, there's like a long list of blackface parties that happened all over American campuses. And I looked it up. I Googled it to fact check them, and they all happened. Like, holy shit, that is crazy. Like, I wasn't even aware of that. So, I mean, apparently that is a thing, and it's just really terrible. But, I mean, it's to the show's credit, they're not making shit up.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? It's I think the first mistake, perhaps. Well, I don't know if it is a mistake in hindsight, because I'm in specific reference to the title. That was the thing that I think kicked off the whole opposition to it. Because I mean, when the trailer came out, there were all of the usual reactions from the anti-social justice lot. And I was thinking to myself, you know, it's all well and good you thinking, yeah, I understand that on the surface, having something like that as your title is going to, who's it going to put off watching it? White people.
White people, yeah.
You know, and that is a mistake on the part that you're not going to get the audience that perhaps you need.
However,
sorry, what?
Yeah, I was just agreeing with you.
All right, okay, yeah. No, I was just, but yeah, that by doing that, I thought, okay, you're going to miss out on it. But at the same time, it pulls in people who are interested in the social issues that it is actually addressing, and as you say, are in reality. And it's sort of it's striking a very strange satirical balance just by having that title. It's just a shame it's quite kind of patronising, and it reminds me of you'd see it on a BuzzFeed article as its headline.
Yeah, no, it really is, and that was my main issue with, I mean, the trailer especially, because when I saw the trailer, I was like, okay, what race baiting propaganda is this going to be? And it was so condescending and malicious, and I saw it and I was like, okay, so the tone of this film is the tone of the show is obviously just gonna be like a Dear White People BuzzFeed article, and I was very concerned, because I was like, I don't want this garbage on the air. I was gonna make a larger point about that, and I forgot it. Yeah.
No worries, man. Yeah, no, that's fine. I think it was. I would like to know if, because this is again something that I've not done any kind of research into, and I really should have done before coming onto this. I'm a little unprepared, but it'd be interesting to know what percentage of if the Netflix original shows that they produce independently, obviously funded from the money that they make from it, if any of it does actually make it onto cable TV.
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Okay, I was
No,
gonna
I don't
say,
think so. I think it's just hosted on Netflix and
okay. Yeah, it would be weird to see it though, wouldn't it? Like, I
it
mean,
would. Yeah.
I don't know if because on the one hand, somebody I think it's different in the UK, because if you want TV, you have to pay a yearly amount, instead of like having just cable and every channel has adverts, which I kind of think is that right in saying the American TV kind of way?
Yeah, that's how it works. Yeah.
Yeah, but so obviously the taxpayer in the UK is almost held to some kind of level in that aspect. Obviously, you don't have to pay for having a TV license, but the BBC is also funded by the government, which is funded by the taxpayer. So if they were to put something like that out, the public has a right to complain. However, obviously, on something like a private business, say Netflix, you can just say, no, I don't want to watch it, which is quite good.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so what was I'll go back onto my list of points. So the opening sequence,
Yes.
it has Rossini's Thieving Magpie playing.
Yes, it does.
And I thought to myself, I thought it's such a strange selection for opening this episode. I thought it really didn't kind of fit with what it was trying to go for. It was almost like, I know it, like I said, it's almost like the ideal piece of music for any piece of satire, isn't it?
You really, it is. It's light and it's comical.
And it's copyright free.
That's true. Public domain.
Yeah, but yeah, that was a bit strange, and they used it again later as well during the sex scene, and it was just weird how they had put that in there alongside the parts later when they were listening to more modern popular music. It sounded like trap to me, but I'm not an expert in that kind of thing. I only know the names of certain classical pieces, but yeah, it was just strange. I was expecting more of that to be as the soundtrack, but I don't know whether it worked or not. What did you feel?
I liked it. I thought the soundtrack choice was pretty good. I like all the jazz pieces they used.
Oh yeah. That was.
I don't think any part of the soundtrack was terribly distracting, because like, yeah, the Rossini was a little weird as the opening scene, but as long as it's just, not distracting me from the story, I really don't mind.
Yeah. Okay. Where did I get to? So the next point. I thought it was weird how she was a media student and she was sitting in on a class about it was a history class. Did she was I wondered if there was any significance in that, because I wondered why there was. It just looked kind of funny. There's a shot where she's completely surrounded by white people, and behind her, because obviously that was what the image was trying to show. But at the same time, there are these history textbooks behind them that haven't got any words on them or anything. It literally just says history.
That's funny.
They've all got these copies of books.
It's ridiculous.
The most simple kind of set design piece. It just looked funny.
Yeah.
But there was. I'm actually reading through this, and we've covered quite a fair amount already. But give me one of your points that you've got down, because.
Well, we can keep talking about the history lesson scene, because it's. I think this is genuinely how these social justice people think universities work.
Okay.
Is that there's the token black kid in the class, and they're talking about slavery, and everybody looks to the black kid to talk about slavery, and I can't imagine that happens in real life.
No,
I cannot imagine that happens.
yeah, none of my film classes that I took had any lessons on slavery. But yeah, no, I know what you mean. It was kind of strange that she was in that situation. It was almost kind of unbelievable.
It was just no. It's man. What am I trying to say here? Give me a sec here. It's like they think that white people need to ask black people specifically about their views on slavery because they have like a an intimate connection, quote unquote, with the source material.
Yeah, that was what the
It's so bizarre and patronizing, and I can't imagine that anybody would really be that gauche as to ask the black kid, "What are your thoughts
yeah.
on slavery?" And are you going to be the person who like educates the whole class about slavery?
I wonder if they would actually have that though. I mean, if in a realistic setting, say there was a history class where they did have to cover that topic. I mean, it just sort of seems almost point blank obvious that nobody is going to have like any real experience of slavery in this modern age, yet they
No.
seem to kind of assume that all of these individuals, based on skin color,
Yeah.
would have more knowledge about it than, say, somebody who knows more about it and just happens to be white. It was just,
Yeah,
yeah.
so that's I mean that's one way you can look at it, and that's the whole point that the scene was trying to make. It's like, yeah, obviously it's super racist to assume that the black guy is going to know everything about slavery. But that's the thing. I don't think anybody really assumes that.
It would be kind of, as you say, it would just be straight point blank racist to assume
Yeah,
that. It was,
yeah.
but you as you said before, there were some really kind of points that the show either brought up or that were actually kind of socially aware. Like,
Yeah.
I'm glad that they. I think the most interesting part for me was that it was, on the one hand, demonstrating the perspectives of the individuals that propagate the social justice narrative, but also at the same time showing the problems that are almost within it. I mean, you can take the scene with the students' unions all meeting up together, and it becomes so apparent that they themselves are divided and divisive towards themselves
Yeah.
before the broader public.
Yeah, it's a lot of infighting. And it's what struck me about those scenes was the people that got the most shit from everybody were the people who were acting white.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like to use that term, like, quote unquote acting white, but it's like the black girl who had the coffee and was talking with the weird voice. You remember her? And then, like, I pick up on a little tension between Sam and Dean's son.
Oh yeah.
Because I think that the point of his character is he's like the privileged black man who wears a suit to all his meetings and comes from money. And I think that, yeah, it's just either they have a different vision for what they want to accomplish, or there is like some legitimate beef between these people.
Yeah, there was it was the point when it started to when the social media thing started blowing up with her boyfriend, if we can call it that, who put up the picture of when Bay leaves or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's almost as if that moment there really did highlight the fact that she was trying to put across, her own genuine concerns, but was almost ignored by, well, one, the fact that they all had their devices in front of them and really probably couldn't care less about this meeting that they were in.
Yeah.
It was so clear that And then, after that, where all of the people from the meeting are standing in the hallway, and they just walk off, as if like that it is such a crime for what she has done that their narrative is now starting to kind of unfold.
Well, I don't think it's that the narrative is starting to unfold. It's that she's like a race traitor. I think there's an element of that Uncle Tom mentality where, you can't be with someone outside the tribe, and there's that, as her friend said, don't fall in love with your oppressor.
Yeah, that was an article that she had written like, herself.
Yeah, and like I could get it if her friend was calling her out for her own hypocrisy, but I also think that there is that element of you sold out, like you sold out our race to the white man, and like that's a real thing in a lot of Black communities in America. Like they do, a lot of people have that mentality over here.
I see it in the I can't really say I see it. I've had my attention drawn to it through social media and YouTube, but again, my understanding of it is very surface level. I'm sure there is probably a lot more context and deeper, as you say, history to it. Do you want to talk a bit further about that? Or?
Yeah, so the issue of I think that this identitarian power politics movement has really taken hold in the United States, especially because there isn't a strong sense of American national identity. Like there's a common kind of leftist slogan, America is a nation of immigrants. But, just because it's trite doesn't make it any less true. And it's absolutely true, because people, like when people talk about, what they are, what they identify as, there's not a strong sense of I am ethnically or nationally American. They always default to another ethnic identity, and it's usually the ethnicities or the nationalities of their ancestors. So, like, for example, my ancestors came from Poland and France.
Okay.
So, like, that's how I identify.
Okay. It's just strange. Like, I mean, I know little to nothing about my family's history. I only know that they've all lived in kind of the same area in England for decades.
Right.
That all I think of is I am English. So
right. That's the difference between the States and Europe, because English people are English and French people are French and German people are German. American people are Irish or Polish or German or Italian or African. They're African American. That's the origin of the term, really, is that people didn't really have a strong American identity to fall back on, so they fell back on their African heritage. So what I can't remember what the question was before we started having this conversation. Do you remember?
No, it was just about I think we were just talking about how the identities of the individuals are it's the like you say, there needs to be a more direct address to the American identity. Right, and I think that's a large part and why that in-group mentality is so strong between different ethnic groups. So it's because they're all trying to hold on to this part of their ethnic ancestral identity without because I mean if they don't, then they're basically left with nothing. There's not they're left with American and nobody. I mean, even people who love America don't even know what American means. In large part, I don't even know what it means. I was to say, I think it would be. I don't know the exact demographic percentages, but again, like you say, you can't just look at it on the surface of color of identity. It's the history of the groups, the history of the individuals, and how far they can go with that story or narrative, as I said, before it becomes something that the public needs to be aware of, and don't discriminate against this one group or another. I think I'm kind of going off on a tangent here of no real point here, but
no, but I mean, I get it. I think it's relevant.
Mm-hmm. All right, okay, well, but yeah, I think it was they actually had a kind of dig at the. If we could call it the diversity department of the university.
Yes,
when
yes,
it was
absolutely.
brilliant. They said there was the bit where, right at the first 30 seconds when they said, what was it? They get the diverse they get a group of diverse students and force them into group shots for the admissions brochure, and they have that picture of all of them,
and everybody's just so not having it, and that's like the one. I mean, maybe not the one, but that's one of the big points where the show and I agree, because I think that, you know, this whole cult of diversity in university admissions is really just kind of superficial and self-serving, and it's really meant to draw in money and not to benefit the people they let in. It's just a big sham. It's very American.
Yeah.
It's very American.
Okay, well, and there was another bit where what was it? When they had she was taking callers on the show, and they were all they had the kind of typical arguments opposing it, but again, it's almost like that those people that were calling up were they had the very generic points of, you know, you sound really condescending, you can't tell us what to do, which you know, and as the freedom of speech has shown, they have the ability to do that and make people aware of it. But at the same time, they had when one of them said, you know, I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was a male caller who said, I don't feel like I belong on this campus or something like that. And then she said in response, that's because they're too busy patting themselves on the back for letting you in. I just thought that was, again, another really almost subtle, but really hits the nail in how overly concerned the universities are with this diversity.
No, it is, and it was a very succinct and really kind of pointed dig, and I appreciated that, because I mean, that policy in itself is just super condescending. And I can imagine why people would be unhappy with it, because they don't like being patronized.
Yeah.
And I think that's I mean, even on my campus, which is, I mean, super, super liberal. Like, I go to a very far leftist, progressive campus. But that is, I mean, that's a common sentiment around here as well. So they're reflecting reality in some degree.
Yeah. I think it was I've never had I think I might have just narrowly missed something at my university, because I've just I've only got a few weeks left and left of work, and then I'll get my degree towards the end of the year. But I never had to go through any of the mandatory diversity training, or like I don't know what they call them, the basically teaching men not to rape classes that I know another university that's in my city had implemented, and I literally was just constantly thinking, thank God I'm not there. And do you have anything like that at on your campus? Or
I had to be taught not to rape.
Oh wow.
It was very it was an uncomfortable, it wasn't long, it was like a half-hour seminar, I guess you could call it. It was I didn't mind that much. It wasn't even, you know, teach men not to rape. It was just, you know, this is how you get consent for sexual encounters, which I think is important. But there were like elements of that, and you could tell that it was pretty much catered towards the men in the room. But we don't have mandatory diversity training here. There's comparative American studies is the code name for social justice courses. Teaching about blackness and white privilege and
yeah,
all those critical theory academic concepts that
that was exactly what filtered into my course, unfortunately, when the theory side of my the theory of the film side of my degree got really kind of irritating, because throughout my first year I was thinking, there's all these fantastic critics and scholars who have so much good stuff to say about the film industry and the just the general theory on it altogether. And I was thinking, do you know what? I really can't wait until we get into the absolute the deepest of the deep end in my second year, and then we get given the list of questions that we can answer for these films, for the essays that we had to provide, and some of them are just obviously they're not doing any real harm, but the almost hegemony of it was startling. That you would have one question that would probably be about the filmmaking side, about how successful something would be, or just the general theory of it. But then by the time you look at the other questions, it would be, how is race represented in this movie? How is gender constrained in this movie? And it would just be, I never picked them. I only picked one once, which wasn't for a very long essay, purely because it's just so easy to blag, because they'll fill the library shelves full of these pseudo academic sources on race, on gender in film, that were probably written no later than the 90s, even though the majority of film theory came out of the 60s and 70s. But it's all a very modern and, as I said, startling experience to do. But do you have anything on your course that they kind of do that kind of thing with?
I've been lucky enough managed to avoid that kind of theorizing about race and gender. There were a few. So I'm minoring. Do you have minors in England?
I have no idea what a minor is. So
okay.
do you? I think it might be something that I've just not been made aware of. What? Go on, educate me.
Okay,
what's a minor?
So in college you have a major area of concentration, and that's what you take most of your classes in. But you can also get a minor degree, which is like a select number of classes that you're very enthusiastic about, and you can get a degree for it, and it'll show up on your transcript.
Okay.
So anyway, I'm minoring in philosophy.
Oh,
that's
right. Okay.
So philosophy is my minor degree.
Okay. Well. I was just gonna say my degree is in theatre and film. I don't know if because for each semester we'll choose certain fields of study that are provided by the university. So I could choose a module on the practical elements of filmmaking, as opposed to write another essay on the gender representation of such and such film.
Okay.
But it all comes to the same thing at the end. I will have a degree in film and drama, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think I get what you're saying. Okay, it's a little different over here, but
yeah, I would say I wouldn't even try to understand it, but I'm sure they probably lead to a very similar conclusion.
Yeah,
but you say majoring and minoring, as in you spend most of your time at uni studying a specific thing for a major and another for a minor.
Yeah, it's so you man, it's funny. I've never had to explain this to anybody before. So you can get like 2 degrees simultaneously. Like you can work towards multiple degrees while you're in university.
Okay. All right. Okay. Then.
And the one that you take the most classes in is your major.
Okay, so when you join the university, you're not joining on a specific course, is that right?
No, that's right. Yeah.
Ah, okay. See, now
Yeah,
that's
you
really
have a
weird.
there's like a big course catalog, and you can just pick whatever you want, but eventually you have to zone in on a specific area of study
Okay.
and
All right. Okay.
start focusing on that. Yeah.
Okay. Funnily enough, I know this is going to completely stray from the actual thing that we were talking about, but have you seen the TV show Community?
I've seen a few episodes.
Okay. Well, I mean, I've watched through the entire thing, and I didn't know if that was of a similar thing to what you're studying, but they pick all these random classes that they take each semester, and I didn't know if it was a kind of pick, but if it's like a pick and choose thing at university as well, I guess it can't be much different. But now, yeah, let's not stray away from that.
Right. So anyway, I was gonna say, yeah, in one of my philosophy classes, we're doing. I mean, I'm taking existentialism this semester, which you will see elements of in my next round of content.
Okay.
Same as self-promotion, but there was about a week that we spent theorizing about gender in existentialism.
Okay.
Because there's Simone de Beauvoir, who was a French feminist existentialist who tried to apply the existence precedes essence framework of Jean-Paul Sartre and apply it to gender. And her famous quote is, "One is not born a woman, one becomes a woman."
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And we just spent a week talking about that, but that was it really. I've managed to avoid a lot of the critical theory elements of the modern academy.
Okay, so you had the choice to be able to take the kind of race theory, gender theory kind of thing. Is that right?
Yeah, I had the option to, but I just chose not to.
Ah, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so am I right in thinking that I'm not a philosopher. I would like to know more about philosophy, but I again, time would be of the main reason for that. So is existentialism the idea of every individual having free agency to make the best of themselves in the world? Is that right?
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty apt description of it. That's part of it certainly, but I would say that the heart of, I mean, existentialism is a very broad term because it spans thinkers like Kierkegaard all the way through like Albert Camus, and you could not find two more different thinkers.
Okay.
But it's really a study of actualizing the self, about living an authentic existence in the fullest sense of what you are or what you aspire to be.
Okay. That sounds really interesting, man. Do you know, sometimes I think to myself, do you know, I wish I'd taken something that might actually get me, might have made me a little bit smarter. But at the same time, I think just going to university as an experience, I think would make you more articulate as an individual. No matter what kind of course you're on. So
exactly.
And I think that it would be. Going back to the show, the fact that these kind of agree with whether there should be an African American student union or not, the fact that they are able to express their opinions in a campus is the main reason why people come out of universities as a stronger individual and as a more well-educated individual. But I'm sure we're fully aware, that is slowly and unfortunately being eroded away to make way for what the university deems acceptable practice, and making sure that everybody is all well-behaved and as non-sexist, non-racist as possible.
Right. See, this is the thing, though. I think it's not the universities that started it. It was the students.
Okay.
Largely, I mean, at least on American campuses, because this all kind of came to a head last fall. Though, to my understanding, it was kind of bubbling under the surface for a little while before that.
So this was with the when Professor Peterson was putting up all this stuff about that. Is that the kind of time period you're?
No, like a year before. So,
Right.
I guess it's not last fall anymore. Last fall would be the days of Jordan Peterson. But no, I mean, are you familiar with the Christakis scandal at Yale?
Is this the guy who is it the infamous video of it's about creating a home here?
That's the one.
Yeah, the Halloween costume thing. Yeah,
insanity.
I followed that with absolute almost dread.
I know, right?
I was like, this is Yale. This is Yale of all places, and this is happening. I could not believe like what I was seeing there. But at the same time, the show did actually make a reference to. I don't know whether they kind of were digging at it at all, but they did say something like, "Here's a list of costumes that you can use: slutty nurse, Frankenstein, but not me." And it was like it was. I think they must have made some. Obviously, that's the thing that I think the show really kind of surprised me with, was its level of awareness in that kind of regard. But you were going to make a point about the scandal anyway. I think I kind of went off on a tangent again.
Well, So I was. Is that this whole movement of starting to censor people's speech and deplatform speakers and deem what is and isn't acceptable behavior on campus. I would say it was largely spearheaded by the students.
Okay.
Because I think that was what the whole Yale thing was about. It was just a bunch of administrators capitulating to student demands, and now that the whole thing has become such an uproar, I think that the administrators are starting to take the first step and make sure that stuff like that doesn't happen again, because it's bad for. I mean, it's bad for business essentially, because people who see that don't want to donate money to the university, and the university wants people to donate money to the university. So they're like, okay, so we can't have these kids flipping out again. Let's just placate them, and we won't have to deal with this.
Okay, it's interesting. Sorry, I was just gonna say it's interesting you say that, because I remember when I think it might have been around a similar time. The coverage of the Mizzou stuff was happening as well, with the the professor and all of the students kind of stopping any kind of journalist or reporter going in on these sort of public safe spaces. I don't know, but that I remember that the one of the staff there was sort of spearheading that, but at the same time, as you say, it's difficult to give the blame to one individual, because it is collective thought that's brought this about. But I don't know. It's actually, so you think it's the students that have kind of brought this about?
Yeah, I think initially it was the students, and now only just now the administrators are starting to take action.
Okay. As do you mean in the sense of supporting them, or do you mean in the sense?
Well, it's in the sense of we know what you want, we know how you think now, so we'll tailor everything to fit your agenda or your ideology, or whatever you want to call it. Okay.
So this is where the diversity training, the gender neutral toilets kind of thing. Is this what you mean by the administration kind of putting their foot forward and saying, yeah, we'll meet your demands?
Yeah, more or less.
Okay. It's interesting because it was only the other day I saw in on the campus, in one of the bathrooms. You could probably find it somewhere on the internet, but there was a poster that was put up in it, and it said, I know it is all part of the same kind of ideology, but the poster did say, if you see somebody in this bathroom that you think shouldn't be there, and then it gives a whole list of do's and don'ts, as if we need telling what to do if you feel uncomfortable in a toilet. Don't feel uncomfortable in a toilet because they might feel uncomfortable in a toilet. But yeah, that again, as I said, I'm happy that I'm at a point now where if anything, it can either turn worse or it can turn better. And from my perspective, we're probably going to have a little low rumble of unfortunate times at universities, especially for new and prospective students. I know that there is a growing uninterest in going to university after all of this has happened.
No, I mean, people are recognizing that it's... Yeah. Could you finish your thought?
Oh, no. I was going to say you people are going to recognize. Go on, sorry, I'll let you carry on.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think people are starting to recognize that it's becoming increasingly politicized, and that a lot of what is being taught in the humanities isn't scholarship, it's ideology masquerading as scholarship.
Yeah.
And it's essentially just become this elite echo chamber.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of, I hate to use the word privilege, but there is a lot of class privilege tied up in that, which I will address in my first video of Reality Weasel Season 2.
I'm so excited, man. I can't wait to watch
it's all about affirmative action and the current state of university demographics and finance and all these different variables that contribute to the massive problem.
Yeah. I would be very interested to see if there was some kind of study provided. I'm sure your video will do a good enough job of it anyway, but I mean an official kind of case study on how I don't know what the case is for paying for university over in the States, but since 2010 over here we've had a triple increase in tuition fees. And since and that came about as excuse me, that came about as a result of change in our government, but at the same time this was something that was very kind of controversial, and especially on the fact that you can get a loan to pay your you can loan the whole you can borrow from the government the entire money that to pay for your tuition and pay it back when you start earning a certain amount of money. I don't know if that kind of system is in place in the States, but I was always under the impression that it was very much if you go to university you've got to pay for it. But then again, I'm just a British bloke who's seen The Sopranos. I really don't know.
Right, yeah. No, that's pretty much how it works in the States. I mean, there's been a massive increase in university tuition fees, and you can take out loans. I don't know. I think the government provides some of it, but you basically take out loans from the university, and then they will bury you in debt when you're out because the job market over here is fucking terrible.
Ah, right, okay.
Yeah.
As in, like, because people. Well, that's interesting. So am I right in assuming that there will be a point where the government will start to ask for the money to come back? Because we are, as like, if you've taken out a loan from the student, if you take out a loan to pay for your tuition, you don't have to pay back for it ever, unless you're earning a certain amount of money. Is it similar like that?
You still have to pay. You still have to pay it back.
Okay,
you still have to pay back. It's just the loans are massive because university tuition is so insanely high.
Ah, right, okay.
And when people come out of university not having a job because either they've studied something that's completely unmarketable, or they've gotten a degree that needs further specialization, so they need to go and get a PhD or whatever.
Okay, so I was just going to say, in the case of, say, if you went to study, like I've done, if you go to study the arts, for example, and more people are going into universities on the basis of thinking that they'll just jump straight into the market after they've got this degree, I don't know if this is something that has just come about recently, but I seem to remember when I before I came to university, I came on the premise of learning and expanding my understanding, whereas at the same time, and this applies as well to the course as well. We you have to do a lot of employability stuff over here. So if you just to make you employable essentially, but if everybody is just as employable as the next person because they've been taught how to be employable, then there's going to be no specialization and you're not going to stand out amongst the others. And I thought that, like, you know, the whole point of I remember somebody told me that the universities used to have a 2-week period of no teaching, and you would just read, you would just study on whatever it is you're studying at that point. This has now been removed and has been replaced by employability and trying to make people work. I don't know if that has any kind of bearing on that, because there are going to be a lot of people who, as you say, are going to be unhappy with paying all of that money and then coming out thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to just get a job as soon as I'm done.
Right.
But it's not the case.
Yeah, that's more or less how it is over here. That's, you know, people there's I mean, when you're studying really kind of esoteric things like literature or history or the arts, there's not as much of an emphasis on employability.
Okay.
As there would be if you were studying a science or engineering or I mean, there's so I go to what's called a liberal arts college.
Okay, yeah.
Which is where it's really focused on the humanities and the social sciences. But I wanted to study biology, so I went to a liberal arts college that has a really, really strong program in biology as well.
Okay.
And we have a little bit of that employability training. But at bigger universities, there's a lot more emphasis on the employability side, because there's a very pre-professional atmosphere about the undergraduate studies.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. That's quite interesting. I think we've gone straight into the university aspect of it now, and I mean that I think that it's good that I rarely see any kind of this is one of the first kind of shows I've seen that has been well, apart from the new Doctor Who series is set in a university, funnily enough. But this is the first kind of show that's actually kind of gone into the depths of this, instead of just relying on YouTube to get a kind of a perspective on it. And I think it's not, I wouldn't say it's sort of refreshing to watch Dear White People, in the sense that perhaps there is more to the opposition than, well, I say the opposition, you know what I mean, the social justice, the cultural Marxists kind of as I say, opposition, that there must be more internal conflicts to it that we probably don't know about. And this show kind of I'm glad that it hadn't gone straight out full white people hatred, as I was expecting it to be.
I was expecting it to, I mean, just based on the trailer alone, I was expecting it to be very, you know, snide and not pleasant, or even handed at all. But it turned out to be a little self-aware.
Yeah. I was gonna say there were a lot of points where I kind of did the typical face palm, as you said, right towards the end when she has that big address to the world, as if and then she starts getting all that praise on social media, and all I could think of was like, that is the ultimate kind of a very widespread virtue signal of the voice.
It is, and it's I thought the whole, because I analyzed the speech, like I had to go and watch it twice or three times, because I really wanted to pick apart what she was saying. And what I found so ironic was she starts out the address by saying it must be devastating for you white people to be reduced to a racial generalization. And then she says, but that happens to black people all the time and we hate it, so it's okay if we do it to you.
Yeah.
And it's funny because it's just so like, instead of lifting yourself up, you have to bring other people down. And I think I swear this is how these people think.
Well, it's
like
how
it's how social justice people think.
Yeah, I was just say it's how the it's not just how these individuals thought either. I mean, if you, again, my knowledge on the history isn't too great, and I might be kind of paraphrasing here, but I was always quite surprised how in, say, Soviet Russia, where the individuals that were supportive of the regime would, as you say, stamp out the others in order to lift themselves up. It's not the case of trying to find a middle ground so everyone can get along. It links back to the tribal. You can probably word this a bit better than I can, but the tribal essence of stamping out the enemy so that you can be on top.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
it's scary, man. I wish that I wish it wasn't the case, but I would really like to see how this. I'd say I'd like to see how this gets resolved, but I mean, I don't know if it really.
I don't know if it's I don't know if it's going to, because it's crazy, because this is actually like my favorite part of all of the whole discipline of biology is evolutionary psychology, which kind of borders in between, psychology and bio, and it's not quite clear where to draw the line, but it's what I see is that a lot of people are just retreating into these tribal instincts where it's my team versus your team, and we can't. And she says this because I remember at the beginning of the show when they were when Sam was addressing the callers, someone says your show is really condescending and divisive.
Yeah.
And she says, I didn't create the divide, I'm just calling attention to it. And that's another way that social justice types think, is that by calling out the divide, that's the way to solve it, by
that it's somehow going to go away. Yeah, I know
that it's somehow going to go away just by pointing out that there is a divide. And I just, yes, the divide is there, but you're the one fueling it, and that's what I think that's where the show is lacking self-awareness.
Yeah, as you say, it's the as we brought up earlier, the title itself, in as condescending as it is, has the dual effect of, as you say, bringing attention in inverted commas to the problem, but also at the same time putting people off from wanting to solve the problem because they're being, treated like they're second-class citizens. But if that's the, as you say, that's the way that they think is going to solve the problem, and it clearly isn't. But there wasn't going to be another point to conclude that, but now it's completely gone. No, it's completely gone now. Never mind.
Nice.
All right. Okay. Well, I think we've covered a pretty decent amount, man. I'm pretty surprised.
Those were all my major Those were all my major notes.
Yeah, I've gone through all of mine as well.
I think I think I would. You know what? I'll point out one more thing that I enjoyed about the show, so that we can end this on a positive note.
Yeah.
Um, I appreciate that Sam's character is not constrained to her race.
Yes.
Because it's very clear that she actually does care about the white guy she's dating.
Mm-hmm.
Like by the end of the episode, you can tell that, you know, she regrets hurting him and she wants to make amends with him, and it's because he's, you know, he didn't feel welcome by her friends in the Black Student Union, and there was a lot of antagonism there, and he obviously didn't deserve that, and he doesn't deserve to be demonized for his skin color in the way that the people in the student union think that they themselves are.
Yeah.
I think that was I thought that was a nice way to end the show.
Yeah, that particular scene though with the boyfriend showing up was a really, really interesting part of it. I thought that if anything, that alongside the scene with all the student union coming together, it's almost like the crowd scenes kind of. I don't know what they were watching on the TV though. To be honest,
it was.
Just bizarre.
Do you have Scandal in the UK?
Sorry, Scandal.
Scandal. It's a show. Do you have that in the UK?
No, I've never. So is that what was playing? I'd never recognized it.
It was a parody of a TV show in the States called Scandal.
Oh right, okay.
And it was very ridiculous and over the top, and kind of playing on the kind of melodramatic tropes of the show. I like the show. I think it's a good show, but there's a lot to make fun of there.
Oh right, okay. No, I was going to say it looked like they had kind of. As you say, it was obviously parodic, but I had no idea really what they were watching, and it was a bit bizarre to kind of witness a group of people doing exactly what I was doing in my chair.
Right.
But yeah, anyway, they were. But that particular point, yeah, with I think Reggie's the name of the chap who really could not stand him whatsoever, and that was a really, really great moment. I mean, like it was it as you say, it undercut everything that has been going wrong with these groups in one swoop, like as if they, as you say, the awareness is there. It would be nice if it really could crank it up a bit further. And on a closing question, are you going to watch any more of it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna.
I'm curious. I want to see where. I mean, this could be a running thing. I could see this being a running thing if we have the time, of course. If we have the time.
Oh, well, all right then. What I'll say, I think just on the basis that I have got 2 Doctor Who videos to make, and I want to make more Black Mirror videos as well because I need money.
Right.
Also,
so what is this your job now?
It's not my job because as much as I'd like it to be, basically by using the footage from the Doctor Who videos, I don't get any revenue for it.
Right.
When I use the footage from Black Mirror and I can test it, they get back to me almost immediately, and my video can be monetized. So because the Black Mirror videos are considerably more popular, I get like as soon as I upload one of those, the amount of money I get, well, it is just the fact that they are more popular than the Doctor Who ones. But I am now considering doing the rest of the reviews with stills because then I get paid for it. But at the same time, if I really could get this as a permanent position, I would. But anyway, I was going to say, if once I've got all of that out of the way, I reckon we should go away and I don't know how many episodes there are. Are there like 10 episodes?
I think it's 10 episodes.
Yeah, that's again, they're only half an hour as well. If we we'll finish the series and we'll come back and have another discussion about it. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Awesome, man. All right, well, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the channel.
Absolute pleasure, man.
As I said, anybody who is still watching, do you know what? We've actually been pretty consistent on the viewers. That hasn't been straying far from the 25 to 30 mark, which is pretty good. To all those of you who are interested in this kind of thing, check out Reality Weasel. Subscribe to him because season 2 is coming and it is gonna be amazing. So yeah, go and check him out. And thanks to everyone for tuning in. We'll see you when we've finished the series.
All right.